Alrighty, everybody. Welcome. We're gonna have another Chosky chat here with Alicia Konieczek in a few minutes. Once she gets in. Oh, there she is. Look at that. I've got to let her in here. Thanks for being here. We are going to talk all things overtraining syndrome. Alicia,
Hi.
hi. How's it going? Uh-oh, she's frozen for a sec. Give her a minute. Hope everyone's Sunday is going well. Um, hmm, we're having a little bit of a connection trouble. Oh, she's coming back.
Is it better?
Yeah, there you go.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. How's it
I
going?
don't know. The internet here, the Airbnb here has all right internet at different spots. So, okay, I think this should work.
Awesome. Well, where are you right now? Then you're in an Airbnb?
Yeah, so we're renting this Airbnb in Longmont near Boulder. So, my new kind of team is just all getting together. So they all wanted us to be in Boulder area. Yeah, but look, I have
Hmm.
my t-shirt on, so it's all good.
Nice. Awesome. Okay. Well, we are here for another Sunday Chosky chat. We're going to talk today about overtraining syndrome, which is something that you've been dealing with a bunch for the last few months. And I guess I just wanted to start off by getting a little bit of a sense of like how you're doing right now, before we kind of dive into the whole story of your experience and a little bit more about maybe kind of the science behind it as well. But yeah, why don't we just start with like, I know you moved to Colorado pretty recently. You're joining this new group. It's all really exciting. But so how's that going? Where are you getting? Where are you in the kind of recovery process, and what's the status right now of everything?
Yeah, so right now I'm doing way better than like weeks before ago. I mean, it's not like going this way, you know. The recovery process is just kind of like up and down all the time throughout the past 3.5 months.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm just taking day by day at this point. So like one day I feel amazing, the other day it's terrible. And yeah, I mean, based on what it was 3 months ago, like I'm in way better place. So I think I'm probably 70% of the way back, so closer than ever before. And it's been a big struggle for sure with this. And yeah, I was trying to look for best ways to deal with it, but there's not much out there. So this is just like, kind of also taking day by day and case by case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this is crazy stuff, but yeah, I don't wish this to anybody because it's awful. And a lot of people reach out to me with similar experiences, and yeah, it takes anything between 4 months to a year, even, to recover
Wow.
from it. So yeah, just depending
Wow.
on how severity of that overtraining syndrome you were in, because I feel like if you were overtrained and trained on it for a long time, the recovery is so much longer. And the moment when I felt
Hmm.
bad, I kind of stopped. So I think I did pretty good job with kind of feeling that there.
Yeah. So let's go back all the way to the start because I know we had a blog post up about this earlier this week, and you mentioned it sounded like it started very suddenly. You had one tempo run, and all of a sudden it was things totally changed right after that run. And I think for some people that's kind of unusual. A lot of the time it feels like it kind of creeps on. So for you, was looking back in retrospect, was there a kind of lead up of fatigue to that tempo run, or was it just like you were just at this right at the red line for a long time, and then that one run kind of like pushed you over the edge?
Yeah, so for the previous few weeks, I believe I was just like waking up tired, like I wasn't sleeping like 12 hours yet. Then it was just like I would just always wake up tired, and my progression, like my repeats and runs, should be going faster because the season was about to start, but they were
Hmm.
kind of like stuck at the same level. So like I was not progressing. It kind of got stuck at the same moment, and I'll be doing the same workouts, and they felt literally the same way. Nothing was better. And
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I was all the time tired. So like just taking my runs slower and the workouts I could still do towards the end pretty all right. But at first I always felt bad. So then that one tempo run, it just like broke me. I don't know. I just felt really bad and I was running really slow and it was just like, just stopping and starting all over again, just getting frustrated and anxiety and all that was coming into
Hmm.
place. And then, yeah, I'm like, okay, I need a break. And then the next day, I still ran pretty all right. And after that, it was just battle for 10 days, like barely living, It was just like, I don't know, no much. Yeah, I couldn't do much. For sure, it was bad.
Wow. So when you had that 10-day spell, did you know right away what was going on? Was it just this confusion? Did you have a coach or a physio or a doctor that you were working with at the time, or were you just like, oh, I'm just tired and I need to figure this out?
Yeah, I was more like, yeah, I think I just got a little bit sick and my body is just like having internal symptoms versus outside because I didn't have fever and I didn't have any like cough or anything. So I'm like, I'm probably just sick. So I was like not able to do anything and I never experienced it and even didn't read about it before much. I didn't know about it much. So I thought
Yeah,
I have coronavirus and just experiencing a little bit different symptoms because they didn't know anything. So I
yeah.
called a few places and they asked me like what symptoms I'm having, and they're like, "No, you don't have coronavirus. We won't test you." So I'm like, "All right, then I'm just gonna wait for a couple days and see what's going on." And then at one moment I'm like, maybe like I don't know, maybe I'm just like still really sad and just overtrained, a little tired, so I need to take a few more days. But it was just after a few days of not running, it wasn't getting better. So it was just like
Hmm.
battle for sure.
Now, I know you wrote a little bit about this, but tell us what it was like from a running perspective to try and run during that period.
Oh my God, yeah. So it was just like no appetite, and so I would wake up and I couldn't even eat anything in the morning. I had to like force myself, and then when I went to the run, I was like kind of excited, got good music in, and then the moment I started, like my heart rate would be like 170, 180, and it was like 8:30 pace, so it should be probably 130, 140. And then like okay, I'm like I'm gonna walk a little bit and see if it's gonna get better, and it wouldn't. So every time I run, I had to stop and walk, and yeah, just like the heart rate wouldn't go down even I stopped. I was trying to get it under 120 and it wouldn't never go down and below 140 even I was standing there. So it was just
Wow.
the momentum of running. But then when I hop on a bike and just biked easy, it was fine. Just the
Hmm.
running perspective. Yeah, I think my body was just telling me stop running.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So, and then it sounds like all this is happening at a time where you're also planning this big move. You're moving out to Colorado. You're joining this new group. Was that all kind of happening concurrently at the same time as this?
No, so I didn't know about this group then. I also didn't know I'll be going back to Colorado. So I
Okay.
was just upset to be alone in Albuquerque. Like I didn't have many friends to run with, just like basic, because my training was so much different than
Hmm.
everybody else's. So it was just like being alone there also didn't help, and just kind of was you're on your own. And I mean, the stress of coronavirus probably had something to do with it, and canceling the
Yeah.
Olympics and the meets and everything. So it was just kind of lots of things, but everybody dealt with it. And my coach, instead of just letting me like, when they canceled the Olympics, he should just like let me relax for a few weeks and just see what's going on later. But no, we just continue through the same training regime. So
Hmm.
I'm pretty upset about that as well because yeah, I mean like there was no racing, so there was no point of going 75 miles a week with so many
Right.
workouts and all that. So he was just like, instead of calming this down, we continue. Plus all the stressors coming out of the environment. Um, yeah, and just being alone there too didn't help.
No, definitely. I've found that too, that, just being isolated can be really challenging from, mental perspective, and obviously mental and physical are really closely linked. So it's hard to deal with that, especially as an athlete and especially when you're going through a tough time. So you mentioned that coach. I mean, clearly you're working with a different group and a different coach now. Was this situation the impetus for leaving that coach, or was that a relationship that was kind of coming to an end anyway?
I mean, at first I was like super excited because the my previous coach, he was like really successful. He coached a five-time European champion before. But what he was telling me to do, I was like, this is insane. But I did it. And then again, I did it and I did it all over again. And then sometimes I go on this workout and I have 8 times K. I'm like, I've never done it and I don't think I can do it. But I did it and then I did it again. So I kind of like got really fit like with him at one point,
Yeah.
but then it doesn't last long, because I was fit after Doha anyway, and then just continued training hard. And then my body was just like, nope, we're not doing this. So then I started to lose a little bit trust into his training, and I started to kind of question his training. Like, why am I doing so many workouts? Like, why do I not have long runs? I just have this two tempos a week and two intervals a week plus one workout on the track a week. And a lot of things, yeah, there were like five different, like they weren't very hard, but they were like kind of
It's a lot of
80%,
quality days. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was definitely different. But I'm like, oh shoot, this is gonna be good. I'm gonna make the Olympic final because I'm training so hard.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, your body just can do it. And yeah, I don't come from like a school that we training really hard. We just up high in the altitude. So this was a little bit altitude plus really training hard. It was bad. So I questioned his training regime, and then the contact kind of got cut off a little bit because it was all over the phone. So when I was getting upset, like it was hard to express your emotions through the WhatsApp, or like phone
Mm.
call. So yeah, I mean, it was just getting bad and bad again. And then when I got that sickness, it was just like a message, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got a phone call about possible groups. So I was like, this is the best thing that happened to me. And yeah, yeah. So this was just a lot of things. I mean, after that, good things were happening, but till it was just rough.
Yeah. So in terms of, I'm curious, like with the sickness, because it does, like I've heard people who have had COVID that have had symptoms that are pretty similar to like the overtraining stuff that you're talking about. So like, hey, did you ever end up getting tested for that? Like, I wonder if you did have a mild case of that that was just kind of mostly asymptomatic, but was just this source of a lot of this fatigue.
Yeah, I mean that's what I thought. That was like this would be easy. I had COVID and a little bit overtraining, and this would be over soon. And then I just got tested a week ago, and now I don't have any antibodies for coronavirus, so I was never
Oh, wow.
exposed. So it wasn't COVID, which is good because we actually don't know what's happening in your cells, with
Right.
this virus, yeah, and lungs. I
Right.
mean, if I had COVID on top of everything, it probably be worse.
Yeah, I think definitely. Yeah, the research is still coming out on the long-term implications, and so I think that's definitely a good thing. But, obviously from your perspective, it doesn't make it any easier. You're still going through what you're going through. Um, so I guess walk us through a little bit of the kind of journey over those couple months. It sounds like you had that bad tempo run, you had 10 or 12 days where you were kind of still trying to run and having these super high heart rates and the fatigue, and then at some point you just kind of shut it down. And then did stuff start to get better at that point, or was it a pretty slow turnaround still?
Yeah, it was slow. So I didn't run at all for like 10 days, and then I did a mile a day with breaks, and then I got up
Hmm.
to 2 to 3 miles. So at the end of the May, I was actually running maybe 3 to 4 miles a day, super easy with breaks and walks. And then I went on sea level in June to see my sister in Eugene. And
Hmm.
then I just start feeling great, like I was good again. So the
Awesome.
next the next 3 weeks I was like running 50, 60 miles a week, and then it came all back again. So by the end of
Oh.
June I was in the hole again. So, and then it was bad for another 2 weeks. Not like brutal like the first 10 days, it was just still pretty rough. And then since I've been getting better every week, maybe a few percent. So I wasn't exhausted after the run, and I wouldn't like be super tired in the morning. I would just wake up actually rested, and all it's left right now is just super high heart rate on all my runs, which yeah, it's pretty scary because I've heard that there's could be some um, like cardiovascular or something going on. But I have
Hmm.
AKG, so I'm kind of seeing what's going on, and so far it's looking good. So I don't know. This might be leftover of mono. And after I posted this all on social media, so many people reach out to me and said like they were going through the same thing with mono and depression. So this is a mix of all these things. So it's
Hmm.
yeah, it's just a lot of things going on, I guess.
Yeah, I saw that post that you also had mono. So was that in conjunction with all this? Was that happening at the same time? Like when was that?
Yeah, so nobody actually knows when I had it.
Oh man.
Yeah, so the thing is, like, there's no test for overtraining, so they couldn't test me for it. It was just like based on taking away this and this and this. So that's what
Yeah.
turned out to be. And then after so many months, which I haven't recovered, we just got tested, and I did had some antibodies for that. So I might have gone
Hmm.
through that as well. So yeah, I mean, lots of people say that this is around 6 months of recovery. So I guess I have two left.
Well, wow. My gosh.
Yeah. So
But I
don't
guess,
go crazy. Don't go crazy, Tyler.
oh, yeah, I've been there, done that.
Yeah,
No, but I
really?
mean, in terms of the like one door closing and another opening, I think, you mentioned this, that phone call from the Colorado group came at a really opportune time for you. So like, I guess tell us about that. Like, on a positive note, how did that phone call, like, who called you? Was it the coach? Was it someone in the group? And like, what was that process like of joining this group and moving out to Colorado?
So, yeah, I mean, that was the best thing happened to me for sure. I just got an email and then it was like, we're thinking of it. Would you be willing to do it? So it was nothing certain, you know? It was just like
Hmm.
we brainstorming about it. We'll see who is willing to move and all that. And I was like, I'll take anything. I will take anything. I'll get out of here. And I was just like, yes, I had no clue who the coach is going to be. I had no clue who's going to be in the
Oh
group.
wow.
I'm just like, I want to be back in Colorado. Like I was unhappy in New Mexico, and yeah, I was just kind of, like you said, like separated and all like alone.
Hmm.
So I was just like, I'll take it. So and then like I didn't know for a few next months who's gonna be there, who's the coach. So yeah, you can expect the news coming up next week, tomorrow, but I can say details about
Okay.
it. Yeah, we're gonna be heard next few days.
Okay. Well, everybody, stay tuned for that. We can't spoil anything now, but
Yeah,
it's
Tyler,
definitely
you
exciting
put
news.
me on. Yeah, you put me on spot, you know.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if it was all. I know there's been some news released, but not all of it. So, um, yeah, we'll wait. I won't say that. All the fans listening in, keep your mouths shut for another 24 hours.
Yeah, yeah. I guess there's always like the bright side of everything that is happening, because maybe if I wouldn't be overtrained, maybe I wouldn't decide to come back to Colorado, and if
Right.
everything was going on, I'd be still alone and all that. And maybe in the long term, this is a good thing. And also, this time is, I guess, the best time
Yep.
to get all these things. So I've been trying to look for the bright side. And I mean, a
Yep.
month ago, I was like still like crying every day, and I called the
Mhm.
doctor, and she was like, "You are depressed," and the symptoms of overtraining and depression are very similar. So
Yeah.
I was like, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. This is all it is. And then turns out it's not. It's both. I mean,
Could
but
be
yeah,
both. Yeah.
it's still helping for sure. So now I'm doing better than before mentally and physically. So just being grateful, for the little progress. That like 0.5%, is just something.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, and honestly, with the Olympics postponed this year, you've still got a long way to go in terms of time leading up to that. So, tell us a little bit. You run for Poland, and how does the Polish team select their Olympians? In the U.S., we have the trials. Is there a trials race for Poland, or is it just a selection committee that picks athletes?
Yeah, so the Polish association is, I believe, pretty corrupted, the coaching staff, they mostly decide who's gonna be on the team, which I'm in
Okay.
a good relationship with the whole association, which is good. But if you are not, then they don't pick you, even you one of the best, because let's say somebody was late to represent like Poland on like this banquet or something, they were like, sorry, we're not bringing you to Doha as 4x4, or somebody would like, yeah, yeah, so you have to be in good terms with them, which I am, so that's good. But still there's like policies, and there's this whole structure what to do for Olympics. So you have to either run the time standard, so now with the new qualification system you have to run the time standard,
Hmm.
or be top 45 on the rankings.
Yep.
So if you do that and you're top three I mean, if you do that, you're top three in Poland, because it's not as competitive, but you still have to compete at that event on the Polish championships and compete well. So you have to be top three, but even there's something coming up, like you get sick, injured, they understand this kind of circumstances, and they give you a chance if you can prove that you are like recovered now and all that. Because last year I was sick for Polish championships, and they said you don't have to race, just recover and be ready for Doha. But
Yeah.
then I ended up racing anyway, and I took second, which was still pretty alright. Because no matter what, I think I'll be in top three. Because the competition is not like in US, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's doable for sure. It's still stressful to do this race, you know, to kind of be top three. But yeah, there's only like
Yeah.
three runners because nobody else gonna train if they know they're never gonna make the team. So it's
Yeah.
like three really good ones, and then everybody else.
Yeah. And do you already have the time standard, or I can't remember how track is working right now. You have to do it next year or something.
Yeah, so the rankings are kind of put on hold right now, which I think 31st on the list, or 29th or 31st on the list, which if nothing changed, if only 28 people that were faster than me last year, they would be faster than me, I would be still ranked.
Hmm.
But you have to keep running, racing, and scoring. So I believe if I run the same time and compete the same time a few times, I'll be in for the rankings. But yeah, still have to race. I believe three times because they take an average of three races with the point
I see.
system. Or I can just run 9:30 and don't worry about the points at all. So that's the safe bet, you
Got it.
know?
Got it. Awesome. Well, this has been great. We'll be definitely following along carefully, watching your journey. Wishing you a smooth and speedy recovery here. Hopefully, we'll be seeing you race, this fall, the winter for sure. But definitely next summer, we'll be keeping our fingers crossed that those Tokyo Games happen, and that you're there representing Poland and this new group that you're about to announce. So everybody stay tuned. Make sure you follow Alicia and look for that announcement. When's it coming? Tomorrow, you said?
Yes.
Tomorrow. Okay, so check out her account. Make sure give her a follow if you're not already. And we'll be sure to repost that as well. But thank you so much. This has been awesome, definitely insightful. If you do have questions about overtraining syndrome, we did write a blog post about it. Go check that out, chosky.run/blog. That's up there. We'll embed this video as well in there, so you can kind of listen or watch the interview as well as read. There's a lot of science in there and kind of the symptoms that you should look out for. But definitely keep an eye out for that. It's something that, I had some college teammates who dealt with it, and it's something that, we wanted to highlight because there's really not a lot of information out there about it. So it's a real thing. It's a big struggle to deal with if it happens to you. And this is why we always talk about, it's better to be 10% undertrained than 2% overtrained, because it can have really long and lasting effects. So anyway, Alicia, thank you so much. Everyone, thanks for being here. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you next weekend. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks, Chusky.
See ya. Have a good one.
Bye.